Tap, tap, tap. Mic check.
I'm thinking.
Trucks are red, tractors are green. Check, 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 check.
And don't quote me on this.
3, 2, 1.
You guys are here bright and early.
Morning, Max.
Morning, sir.
John Lump.
John Lump, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir. Welcome to your home.
What a beautiful surprise we got this morning.
Oh, good.
You guys beat me. 10 minutes early. You guys still beat me. Now where's my coffee? Well, to be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about it, being new to the industry. Whenever I started farming and I got my first soybean check, I looked on my check, I guess my check stub, and it said Checkoff dollars with a minus sign. I was like, well, what the heck is this about?
Sure.
So I actually did call my grain investor, and he says, well, that's just used to utilize and advocate for you farmers. But beyond that, I'm very wet behind the ears when it comes to it.
Do you feel positive about the Checkoff investments? You have negative opinions?
I'm gonna hit the middle ground. I'm gonna say I'm indifferent about them just because of the lack of education that I have towards it. We're here at one of my family's farms. This one's actually kind of a special farm in my heart. That little 7 acres right over there is where I actually got my start. Right across the street to the north was my first crop.
Well, this is a very impressive farm, Max. And as we promised, we're going to continue on a journey today. So if you don't mind, let's hop in your truck and we'll get going to the next stop. What would we do without GPS? Are we there already?
Yep, we're here, everybody get out.
Biodiesel is one of the most successful Checkoff stories. It actually adds 10% back to the value of the soybean crop to the farmer. So Pete, tell us today about some of the benefits that you've seen, on your side of the table using biodiesel in the fleets and in the farms and all the other uses.
Biodiesel really, no matter how you look at it, it's just got a number of benefits. From engine operability, it's got better cetane and higher lubricity. For any kind of fleet that's looking to reduce carbon emissions, it's the best case scenario. It's the lowest carbon fuel available right now and at the best cost. It can be used in pre-existing equipment. You don't have to change anything out in terms of pumps or engines. Any engine can run biodiesel. And at the end of the day, it increases the demand for soybean oil. So it really is a boost to the bottom line for all our Illinois farmers.
What are some of the concerns, maybe some pushbacks that you've faced when trying to explain them that, hey, this is a good product we want you to use?
Sure. A lot of it has to do with, the biodiesel quality today is orders of magnitude different than what it was 10 or 15 years ago. And so really a lot of those issues, filter clogging, cold weather operability, a lot of these things have been resolved. In a lot of cases we've seen where with higher levels of biodiesel plus additive, it works better in cold weather than what they're using right now.
A lot of the oil that's being used in these buses and throughout the biodiesel industry in the state is coming from your soybeans. It's coming directly from the farmer's soybeans here in Illinois.
One thing that gets me excited about this stuff, it truly does, is the fact that it's renewable and it's coming from the state, as you guys have mentioned. See, I didn't know that. Now I know that Illinois soybeans goes into Illinois biodiesel. We're actually producing a renewable source, and we get to actually see that fuel.
Yeah.
I'd like to think maybe we had a little bit of part in it.
For sure, you did. That's right.
It's kind of cool.
My right, his right.
This guy's done this before. I wonder if we're getting close.
Make sure you turn right at the red barn. If you see a white barn, you've gone too far.
Yes. The fields over in this part of the state sure are pretty.
Brought Aiden out today. He's one of our PCM specialists.
Nice to meet you.
Aiden, nice to meet you.
What we have found is we've developed a true partnership with Illinois corn growers.
PCM focuses on in-field practices, 3 specifically, being cover crops, nutrient management, and tillage. And really what we do is help the grower make conservation make sense in a financially feasible way.
When you can pool your dollars, because you grow corn also, I bet, well, you're paying into that Checkoff too. So we can pool our resources together as a double benefit then to the producers of this state.
We realize that oftentimes making changes on the farm can be daunting, such as growing a cover crop for the first time or changing tillage practices. So with the funding, we can give dollars to PCM growers to help them make those changes and just be more sustainable on the farm.
Nope, there you go.
What up? I love excavators. That's my favorite thing to run.
Lost one, this is lost three. Are you lost two?
More than 60% of our soybeans are exported, so modernization of all modes of transportation in and out of the state of Illinois are very imperative to the success of the soybean farmer.
As we look out today, we see the water's really high here in Peoria. These locks were built in the 30s and 40s all across the state, and they are critical infrastructure and they need to be modernized. This lock in particular is a 600-foot lock, and that worked really well for a lot of years, but it really needs to be 1,200 foot to handle the modern barges. It will make our transportation system more resilient and more efficient going forward. This is really the most efficient and most environmentally sound way to move product. Moving the waterways, we're saving 30% of the emissions that you would by truck and rail. You can save 1,000 trucks by what you put in one barge tow and take 1,050 trucks off the road. You just can't beat that. Dollar for dollar, it's the smartest way to go. You know, it's hard to understate the scale of the economic impact the waterways has on Illinois. It's been, roughly about $2.7, $2.8 billion a year in economic impact of the products that go up and down the river. It's the backbone of our economy.
Well, we're gonna switch you guys back.
Let's switch
Okay.
Todd and Max. Thank you, gentlemen.
That was a beautiful switch.
There really was.
This bridge is a great example of something that is facing communities all across the state. Our rural infrastructure, our bridges and our roads, they're in trouble. And roughly about 8.5% of all the bridges like this one need to be rehabilitated or even outright replaced. And this is a big issue because it's the most important section of the transportation network. It's how we get the product from the farm to the distribution points that get it out to the greater world.
What are some of the steps that you guys are going to take to maybe repair some of those old bridges?
We've developed a program we call bridge bundling. And what they do is they take bridges that are similar in size or design, and instead of doing them one-off, one at a time through the process, we'll put them together in a bundle, and then we'll bid it out as one project and use economies of scale to really deliver products faster and at a lower cost, which saves everybody money, which means we can repair more bridges.
You need a good, solid bridge to get your crop that you've done a great job growing, but to get it to market. And if that is an impediment, you can't get it, it's not going to do any good to the end user. So it's all part of the big picture that you wouldn't think the soybean checkoff dollars would be working on, but it's all part of not only growing a good crop, but getting it to market.
No, it's really neat. Get out there and start building bridges. Put on your hard hat.
There you go. So Max, we're at a grain elevator, but one of the things that you probably haven't thought about is some of the new uses that the soybean checkoff is looking into utilizing your crop. So I brought Claire in with us, and she's been working on several of our new use projects.
Yeah, so the Illinois Soybean Checkoff program this year is really trying to promote the recognition of new use products, specifically soy-based products. This past fall during harvest, we applied a soy-based dust suppressant called BioBlend Epic Esterlink, and we applied that here at this elevator in Eureka to suppress some of the dust that rises up with increased grain truck traffic during the harvest season.
So what are some of the other products that you guys are seeing and experimenting with?
So soybeans can be used in anything from fiber, lubricants, adhesive, paper, plastics, but two projects specifically that this checkoff program is funding this year is the scale up of a soy-based asphalt sealant and the scale up of a soy-based structural adhesive. So investing in these new use products for soybeans opens the door for new buyers and new markets for soybeans grown right here in Illinois.
Test 1, 2.
Shoot the breeze. I know what you was about to say.
Let's roll it. So Max, we're now at the conclusion of our road trip. When we first met, you knew a little bit about the checkoff. You had maybe some ideas that you wanted to flesh out and learn more about. What do you think now?
I truly believe that the main focus of the checkoff is to work for the farmer and to really help the American grower. soybean grower. And what's kind of cool about what you guys all showed me on this trip and the several stops that we made is I had no idea all this went into it. I feel like the Checkoff dollars are working for me as a farmer. Thank you for being a great passenger, John.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
This was a really cool opportunity, John.
This is the fun part of my job.
I'm not a paid actor. I know you're not supposed to say that. I never done any of this crap. It was a cool opportunity. This isn't my life. I'd much rather be growing my product on my farm and be proud of taking care of my acres on my farm. So I'm excited for the possibilities that the Checkoff program will present to us U.S. farmers as creating a demand for our product to supply the world, the consumers, with quality products.